Thank you for joining us again for another edition of Snacks. I'm here again with the wonderful, pinked out Ethalorian. How's it going, Eth?
It's pink. It's really fucking pink today, friends.
I noticed you seem to be checking that chart over there a little bit, quite often today. What's up?
We seem to be going up and to the right. That is up and to the right. And I like that because I've been waiting for two-digit Lux. I think someone told me, I don't know who tweeted this out, 248 days since the last time we saw double-digit LYX tokens, LYXe. So this makes me happy.
248 days. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so the last time that we had a run, well, the first initial run after the reversible ICO, which if you don't know the difference between an ICO and a reversible ICO, I mean, Fabian Vogelsteller, he authored ERC20, which gave us the first ICO boom. But the reversible is such a cool way to do it to protect investors even better. It's really, really cool. I hope other people adopt it. So that the run after the reversible ICO was from, I don't know what, like $1 to $27. It was epic. And then we had a complete reset, and we ran up to, I don't remember what we dropped down to, and then we ran back up to $42. Right? That's our all-time high now. It's 42.
Ish.
I think so. Ish.
Yep, ish.
And then here we are now, just now cracking 10 for the third time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this time, we've earned it. The last couple times, total speculative bubble. Even Fabian said at the end of the RICO, be careful with the price action because it's not sustainable. We're not hearing any of that now. And that is, I think, bullish.
I would have to agree with you on that, sir.
So, how are those Madagascarine? I don't know how you say that. Madagascarine beans.
Madagascan. They're good.
Right.
We're almost out of the poop beans, so we need to head back out to Madagascar pretty soon. Because that's the thing, they won't. They're kind of illegal to get across the border, so you have to go there personally and catch them from the birds yourself. So, I mean, it's quite an undertaking. I hope you appreciate the quality of this coffee.
Well, that's why I'm, I had a little issue after drinking the coffee last time. Spent a few too many minutes on the throne, as they say. So I'm going to avoid the coffee at least until the urge to drink it overwhelms me, until I have that dry mouth and I need to slake it with something, and then I'll get into it. But
okay, all right. I mean, fair enough. So we're now 2 days out from this update number 2 of 3. Sounds like it's going to be tokenomics focused, which is exciting.
Oh, God. Have we been waiting for this forever? The answer is yes.
Yeah, in perpetuity.
The answer...
We've been floating in the pink multiverse. Homeless, right?
Just hanging out in the clouds. Nothing to ground us. No fertile soil in which to plant our pink seeds of hopium. But now, my friend, we are ready. We are ready to get on with it. And pretty much confirmed. The other day, dropped in that Q&A comments chat that Fabian is going to drop some tokenomics. And I say Fabian, it's really the whole team. But, it's easier for me to be reductive with my thoughts when I think of it as one person.
So talking LUKSO tokenomics, originally, we had 100 million, which we still have on the testnet, of course. So it's more of like how many will they issue at mainnet is the underlying question. Fabian's original tweet was like, get it as low as possible, maybe as low as 35 million total supply. I think the most recent thing some sleuth found off of GitHub was 42 million. I mean, really, I think originally, I think even a year ago, he might have first mentioned, or a year and a half ago, maybe like, if the network is stable at some point, we could, shave off some of the supply. So I always thought, man, in a few years, what if we just cut out like 10, 20%? That'd be epic. And then here we are talking about greater than 50% like out the gate. That's pretty, it's pretty damn cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think much. Well, I don't think the full impact of it has really hit the general public yet. I mean, we're reducing the supply by most likely greater than 50%. I mean, people make so much of the meme number of 21 million coins or tokens for Bitcoin.
Right.
And then at the same time, will lose their shit if a project is offering 1 billion coins in something like Doge. And right now we're talking here, the original announced in the RICO was about 100 million tokens at full dilution. And if for all intents and purposes, it looks like we're going to be sub 50 million. I mean, I think on the low end was 35 million. On a leak, we saw 42 million. I mean, shit, if we're anywhere under 50 million, what a win. We just burned half of the supply out there, which effectively makes every token you're holding worth twice as much.
Yeah, it's
Think
so
about
crazy.
that, friends.
It's so crazy. And don't listen to the fudders,
Yeah.
the people that are trying to manipulate the price. If they say 42 million, dump it. Like, no, like when they first announced just the concept of it, I think we priced in about 80, 70 million, you know, and then we then dumped after that. So it's like, nothing's really been priced in anyways. So it's just like long term, don't lose sight, and the short term, you know, moves. That's all I'm going to say, because this is a gem. Don't get shaken out. Have some future looking for, you know, extend your time horizon if it's stressing you out at all, right? I think long term this is an easy win.
Agreed. You know, we have a propensity in this space to be like, holy shit, the sky is falling, and we start running around like fucking maniacs the second that any news breaks, like legit, like Chicken Little. And the fact of the matter is, we're on this 24/7 news cycle, so if we don't get the instant dopamine hit of something that we can latch onto and throw a party about, people resort to the other side of that maxim, which is, or that extreme, which is, holy shit, the sky is falling, let's all FUD our own bags until we're all poor. Like, that's total nonsense too. On one side, we're going to pump our bags relentlessly because we think somehow it's making us rich, and then if they're not making us rich, then we might as well just destroy our interest in whatever the project is that we're holding. Nonsense.
Like,
it's nonsense.
Why? Like, there needs to be more middle ground. Like, I mean, they get stuck. Some people get stuck in the past narratives of, you know, the 2017 run, where it's like you could just throw shit at a fan and you'd make money, right? You'd 10x, you know, in a week off some little shit coin, right? Like, those days are just over, right? Like, as it matures, you need quality over, you know, quantity, right? So, which we're seeing. So a lot of projects will fail now, you know, moving forward. Kind of like the multiple bubbles of the internet, right? It took a few bubbles to weed out all the trash, and we're starting to see that with, you know, especially this last year, we've weeded out some terrible projects already. And there's like 20,000 plus, you know, altcoins now. Like, you got to be very careful, you know, and do plenty of research to make sure that you're, you know, investing long term in the correct stuff, because, you know, for the first time in human history, we have a chance to actually, like, well, I don't know about human history, but in modern history, to actually own a piece of the infrastructure ourselves, right? It's been so long that we've just felt like cogs in a machine, like helpless, right?
Yeah, but no, I understand that. I get that. Yeah, big time. It's a good point. You know, I understand that capital is mercenary, right? And liquidity is mercenary. We saw that, let's say, DeFi summer, as we got all these food farms that kind of popped up after Compound started that original governance farming. And liquidity would run from one yield to the next, to the next, to the next. And there were a lot of vampire attacks for that liquidity. You know, look at Sushi launching right after Uniswap and trying to pull, you know, large holders of stable coins into those liquidity pools and subsidizing it through the issuance of like a Sushi token. It's cool. I get it. You know, the capital flows can be mercenary. Like, I came to accept that. Moving away from just tokens alts and like into Clone X, right? And the NFT space in general, the one thing I'm having a tough time accepting is like that same mercenary mentality with people's liquidity but they mask it in this like, I buy a project, and the second I buy a new PFP in something, now that community is the greatest. That to me just like reeks of inauthenticity. It's like it's an unauthentic take. You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about that, but that one's been getting me recently, like really honestly cutting me pretty deep.
I mean, I think that's still like the remnants of last year of the NFT, bull cycle that was just crazy, the mania, right? Where it's like you grab something as an investment short term, then you pump it in, and you shout it to the rooftops, trying to get everybody else to help pump it, and it's just like, but what is that? Yeah, it helps, like short term if you're trying to flip something, but like if you actually want to, be in the space long term, that doesn't really, it's not super beneficial, right? Like, there's definitely a big difference between that and identifying a community that you vibe with, that you like the art or assets, and you want to actually use those, creating your own online identity moving forward. Well, I think that's what it's actually really about, right? Like, that's the future of this space, is building everything around that identity, and therefore that community will be, a big part of that.
Yeah. I saw Zagabond.eth, I think founder of Azuki, or one of the founders of Azuki. He put like community, and he put COMM in lowercase letters, and then at the end, unity in caps. And I get that about a community is we're trying to come together. We're trying to come together as one to make something bigger than any one of us could do. And like, I get that. And I love that, honestly. Like, I'm all for that. And this is no FUD on any particular project. And obviously you can see where this digital identity lies. Ethalorian is a clone. I embrace it. I don't even look for anything else at this point. Like, I vibe with Artifact. What I can say, though, is lately, I don't know. I've been cleaning my timeline because I spend a lot of time on Twitter. I've really been cleaning up the people that immediately, like, a project launches and they're just the maxi of that project, and they're talking about the floor price of that project. I feel like that's like antithetical to what community is about, right? Because if you're in the community, do you even care about the floor price? Like, if we talk about my forever Azuki or my forever clone, then why do I care what it's worth? Because I'm never selling it anyway. Right? You know what I mean?
Well, I think because it's such
that gets tricky.
Well, I think like because we're in such a nascent space, and these are valuable assets, that it's just kind of like a defense mechanism, I think, for people to want to know. Okay, I sleep at night, I know that the floor is high, so I could, if I wanted to get out, I could at least get out for that much. Like, I think they just want to have that always in there, right? Like, but some of us have the conviction, like, I don't even care unless there's some reason for me to doubt the team and the project and the vision and everything, which, in this case, Artifact with clones, not at all, right? Yeah, we've had some speed bumps, but the founders are still by far the most intriguing to me in the entire space. So, like, nothing's changed on that regard.
Yeah, and I loop it back to, we were talking just minutes ago about LUKSO. And talk about a community that has endured an incredible amount of FUD, right? I mean, if you're around now, you've gone through some points where, like, alts, we've been in the same chats, we've been talking for a long time. Relentless FUD. Right? And it really tested our mettle as holders. Like, how much belief do we have? How much conviction do we have? But let's move outside of even things that I can't control. Like, I can't control what the team's doing in Berlin, just like I can't control what Zap or what Clegg or Benoit are doing, or any of the team. But what I can control is how much I want to invest in you as another community member, right? I can control how much I want to invest in the other people that share my orbit. And not invest in them monetarily, but invest in them as people with my energy, right? So, like, when you come out with a project, I can support what you do, right? Or if if there's a conversation to be had, I mean, how lively have Twitter Spaces gotten? How often do we spend time in those things? I feel like that is what this community is about. Like, we're building this participation, this network without boundaries, right? Because we're so non-local. It's a multiverse of locations and times. I mean, does time even fucking matter anymore in these spaces? I don't know.
I mean, time is just a construct anyways, so yeah, it doesn't. It's becoming less important right? It's more just like it just is. It just exists, right? And you just choose to plug in and become a part of it. And if you want to be an active participant, yeah, because like holding these assets, like the PFP projects or the even the tokens and coins, right? Like you can just hold those and show the team. You can just sit there and wait for the team to do something to make your stuff worth more, right? But like, I mean, why not take advantage of that time, right? Instead of just waiting a few years till the next bull cycle till you care. Like, imagine how much more you can get out of it if you're active during that downtime, right? Like, because not only can you, I mean, it's like also if you want to go all in, but you're out of dry powder, like, well, then put more time and energy into it, right? Like, we've had to persevere a lot of FUD over the last couple of years with LUKSO, and that's just normal for any project, right? That especially if there's any sort of delay or anything, or if you're trying to do something really big, you're gonna have a lot of FUD, right? But how many friendships have we made in that time? How many other projects are we building that are growing right now and getting ready to see the light of day? And just right there, it's like we've set up a base for this community for new members to come in and learn about our values and what we're all about here at LUKSO. And I don't know, that alone is like so invaluable. Like if you see the bigger picture of a project, the community plays a very big part in Web3, right? So if the community just sits there and is like, give us money, we deserve it because we're here. And like, okay, I mean, yes, long term, we're going to get the money. Like the bags, like if you're in the space now, your stuff's going to be way more valuable in the future. Like that's pretty much, I mean, not everything, of course, let's be real, but most quality things that they're going to be worth a whole lot more in the future just because we are so freaking early. But, you still need to extend your time horizon longer than a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. More often than not, where do people get burned? People get burned because they're chasing projects without a soul. They're chasing projects without a heart, right? Like a book, Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, right? He had actually, it wasn't him. Sorry, Jack Kornfield, another Buddhist monk, wrote a book, Path with Heart, right? It's from Insight Meditation, like that community. Again, a community built around an ideal. And a path with heart is important. And I won't go deep into that specific book right now, but what I'll say is what I've found for me in this space, someone who's bounced around like you have as well, trading shit coins, hopping from NFT community to NFT community when it was just fun in like a casino, where I've settled is in projects with heart, right? So to me, it doesn't even necessarily matter what the financials are on these things, although I think that we're set up in pretty good spots here. I mean, don't get me wrong, Naltz.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like there's a good karma, there's a good energy around LUKSO, around Artifact, because they're projects with heart. And like that means a lot to me, So I don't know. This circles back to, like I said, I've been getting an icky feeling with people that are just shilling me things still because it's their bags. It's the bear market. Like things aren't going up. So stop shilling me pump and dumps, right? I'm looking for projects with heart from real builders who are here for the long term.
Yeah. I mean, going back, 5 years, or right, 6 years. Damn. When I first started trying to find altcoin communities, right? Like got into several of them and the shitcoin mania hit and you're just trying to flip, but like I was always on the search for something. Like I knew I wanted to find the most bullish fundamentals. I wanted to find ETH at $20, I wanted to find the next ETH, right? Like, and I did. I think I did with LUKSO, but it took a long time of searching and then it took a long time of understanding, right? Of truly understanding the vision of everything. But that's what it's about, is the vision. And that's what I think that's one thing I love about, like, with both Artifact and LUKSO. I mean, but LUKSO especially, it's like there's an entry of knowledge. There's a barrier of entry of knowledge to really actually understand what it's going to do, right? So you can't just come in. There's really not a 10-second elevator pitch, right? Like most every other project out there can be pitched in 10 seconds, and LUKSO can't. And just like ETH, if you were back in 2016, ETH, you couldn't pitch that in 10 seconds, right? Because you didn't quite know what it was going to be. And this is like the next iteration of that, but exponentially more. So not only did I identify with the team and the founders of LUKSO, their vision, like I mean, Fabian was writing about some of this shit in 2013, right? And we're starting to see this stuff with self-sovereign identity and things come to life. And, but the community is just as forward thinking. And because I need to be around people like that I can have these discussions with, because I'm constantly yearning for more knowledge and more vision. And it's great having friends like Kriegel that can, they're living, 20 years in the future already, and they have this insane vision, because it's the same thing with the Artifact founders, right? They're in 2052, right? And we can't quite see, the roadmap there yet, because they're doing so many things behind the scenes. But because these are the projects that will actually change the world and change the culture of Web3, right? Which is because I'm here forever, right? I've moved in. I'm officially, full time in Web3, right? So let's build this shit out. I want it to be good, man.
I love that. I've moved in. I've established residency here, and I'm not going anywhere else. Fuck you. Not going to happen.
I mean, we all had to move here. Teflon, he actually had to. He was born here. He had the benefit of being born here, right? But
yeah, metaverse trueborn. That's not something I can say that I was, but I can tell you I'd rather be here than most other places right now. I'll tell you that. I think at this point the Etherian is far more real than whatever it was that jacked into this avatar. I don't know. Let's call it 3 years ago when this one was created, right? When I dumped my old Twitter profile and the Etherian was born. So, it's kind of a wild thing. It's just, I don't know. It's been a journey. Let's put it that way.
Well, and then moving forward, not only will LUKSO unlock the keys to a lot of this stuff, right? But being able to, because the thing about how much you identify with Etherian and me with alts, now I'm to the point where people call me alts more than my real name, my physical name, as it were, right? And it's great. It's strange to hear my physical name anymore because I talk to so many people in the space on a daily basis, and I love it. And we're only going to get tools to just, shape these and our drip, right? We can we're going to be able to wear things that we really truly identify with that we couldn't actually even wear in the physical realm, right? So it's more customizable, our identities. We can shape them and leave a lot of the BS, in Web 2, which is really great. BS like expectations, right? Anxiety, those things we can kind of just leave where they belong, right? Here we're kind of building it's a sandbox, and we're all here to kind of build it together. So that vibe and that energy it's just unparalleled in the rest of the world, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and pull some topics from the community. We're gonna start doing that every time on Snacks now, I think. First one out the gate, we've got Dylan, fellow clone, Aussie representing. Dylan wants to know our thoughts on psychedelics. So that's a very interesting topic, Dylan. And let's get into it.
Well, Dylan, I'll answer this question. So, Alts, you and I have talked at length about the difference that microdosing has made in my own personal life. I'm now a middle-aged man, and when I was in my early 20s, I found myself in a bout with depression. And depression was a difficult time for me. It was a hole that I fell in that I knew I never wanted to get back to again. And when all of us were kind of grappling with the enormous change that came in our life through that, let's call it the pandemic, through the impacts of COVID. I don't know, it turned my life upside down, right? And there were a lot of things I was dealing with professionally, personally. It just threw my world for a spin, and I could feel myself going back towards that deep, dark hole that is depression. So I started seeing a therapist, a Buddhist monk, actually, which was really cool. I found him, great guy, and we got to talking, and through talking, we actually arrived on microdosing as a kind of a solution to see kind of how that would go. Now, I had experimented with psychedelics as a young man as well, but microdosing is something different. Microdosing isn't necessarily taking the hallucinogenic to go on a trip per se, right? But it's like low levels of it at a constant, it kind of like frequency, and it just rewired my brain. Like it made, I don't know, it like turned me away from the darkness. I can't tell you enough how impactful it was on my life. And I know I've told you that. I used to get honey, and it was shipped in from California, and you just put a spoonful of honey in some tea, and then I would have the opportunity to just go for a walk in the woods for, an hour. And I don't know, like I said, it was a transformative experience. Now, have I recreationally experimented with psychedelics? The answer is yes. Do I think that it's beneficial? Absolutely. I think that in shamanic practices, it can be super beneficial as well. But I'll tell you, as someone who has used it medicinally for that reason, totally changed my life. Totally changed my life. I don't.
So when you
go ahead.
When you say microdosing psychedelic, what were you microdosing? Was it shrooms?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Mushrooms. Yep. Yep. Mushrooms. That's exactly what it was.
So had you ever done mushrooms before?
Again, oh yes, I definitely had. Recreationally, definitely done mushrooms before. So I knew what I was getting into. It wasn't like I hadn't ever tried a psychedelic like that. But again, this wasn't done for like a recreational party, atmosphere. This was, I wouldn't call it sub-perceptual. Sub-perceptual would mean like you're not perceiving it at all. It just was non-hallucinogenic. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't having, crazy visions, or I wasn't hallucinating. Right. Instead, if anything, it I don't know, it definitely affected my brain chemistry. That's the only way I would be able to explain it. And like crudely, I would say it rewired my brain. It gave me the little kick I needed to get over whatever that cycle was that was kind of moving me towards this darkness. And how many people are taking, antidepressants or other drugs out there, right? So like, again, I'm a big proponent, and I do in reading, and my wife's a shamanic practitioner, which is awesome, right? Miss Cethalorian, she actually is a shamanic practitioner. There's lots of cultures that will take advantage of the healing properties of psychedelics as well. So
I like
big
that.
proponent. I know at times also you mentioned like anxiety, like it's something that creeps up in your life. I don't know how you feel about like, what I'm saying to you about the potential impacts of psychedelics on that kind of thing. I don't know if you have any personal experience with that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think like Alan Watts, who I really like identify with his vision and just kind of overall take on psychedelics as well. He sees them as a tool, like they're a tool to expand your consciousness, right? But you kind of have to be in the right frame of mind, because tools can be dangerous as well if you don't use them properly, right? Now, obviously, psychedelics can be for recreational use as well, which, I mean, I've only done shrooms one time, and it was for recreational use, but it did expand my consciousness because I was in a great frame of mind, and it was a great situation. Everything set up perfectly for that. As I've gotten older, like I have started to reconsider, okay, maybe it's time to kind of do that again, but maybe in a different way. I have definitely considered microdosing as well, because I did have my own issues with anxiety and depression. Like many of us in a modern world, right? I think it's just a lot of us, it's just a reflection of, technology advancing quicker than humans can evolve, right? We just don't really we haven't been able to adapt quick enough. So we have a lot of issues, right? And redefining a lot of things in a modern world, because it boils down to choice as opposed to, having to just survive, right? We have way more freedom to, fuck up and do crazy shit or whatever, or to overstress ourselves just mentally, right? Because of the physical stress has become minimized, for survival. But yeah, it's like, I mean, as a filmmaker in the past, like, yeah, that's an extremely stressful job. And just, yeah, my anxiety was a bit debilitating to some degree, unfortunately. But yeah, so like I have considered, microdosing. I do smoke weed, which, helps kill the marijuana. And actually, I'll tell you one thing. Since I've gotten into Web3, man, my anxiety has just like gone, like I have managed to squash it like my social anxiety for the most part, at least, just because I've been interacting with so many people like on a daily basis in a different way, right? And like, and that's why I became, anonymous, to leave the anxieties, behind, and not have to have those same expectations, and just like focus on having fun and creating and just being the vibe that I wanted to see out in the multiverse, right? And if people resonate with that, cool. If not, I was okay with that too, right? I didn't, I was just going to let it just evolve and, organically, and here we are. Right. So that's a really cool thing about this space. But, as far as like psychedelics, I think, yeah, microdosing, I've heard so many great things about microdosing, shrooms in particular. And I have some, and I just haven't started the actual microdosing process. I assumed like maybe I should stop smoking weed to do that instead. But I would really be curious to see how it does, with anxiety and depression.
I wouldn't say you have to like do one or the other. I mean, cannabis is a hallucinogenic as well, right? Because I mean, that's what we're talking about. I just found cannabis to be like more anxiety inducing in me recently. So like I backed off on that. And actually I stopped drinking coffee outside of the last cup I had on LNGM that I said gave me the old belly tumbles, Well, it was funny. It was like, it was just funny. You play around with like your kind of chemistry and like how you feel. I resonate with what you're saying though about the old Web3 gives me so much less social anxiety. I recognize that the Etherian, I'm a wallflower in the physical dimension. I'm pretty much quiet, and I watch.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I noticed that, like, interacting with you in New York for the first time, I was like, wow, he's actually super chill. He just kind of like sits in the back and just judges people on their behavior. No, just kidding. No, but yeah. But I dig that about you as well, that you are just at peace with your own energy, and you don't necessarily have to go seek anything else. I appreciate that. All right, so next up on the snack topics, we've got Staunch asking us what our thoughts on NFT projects and kind of what we think defines success of an NFT project. What do you think, Keith? What denotes success for an NFT project for you?
It's a great question. I think that's not like a question that can be answered simply with like one response, because I think NFT projects are so damn varied. I think what defines success in any venture is achieving goals, right? So like, I guess if you look at an NFT project, what's the goal of the project? If you achieve that goal or you come close to achieving that goal, well, I think that determines the success, right?
Yeah, I think.
At least
Yeah,
for me.
I think so. And yeah, you said that's a spectrum. Those goals can vary depending on the project. Whether it's a one-of-one artist or a full-on 20K collection. But I think some of my some of the more Web3 type goals is just hitting those road marks or those roadmap check marks, right? Because that alone says a lot to your community that you're actually achieving what you're set out to doing, right? And then also, just how you integrate your community, because they're always, we want to be a part of the project however much we can, because Web3 is different. We get to be more active participants, right? So, yeah, I think when you allow your community ways to integrate and become active participants, well, that I think you found some degree of success with that alone.
Yeah, do what you say you're going to do. I think that's an important one. Do what you say you're going to do, because a lot of people are giving you money based upon faith, good faith that you're going to execute. So I think that that's an important thing. If you're a successful project, you'll execute on the good faith that others have put in you.
Very well said. Very well said. All right. Next up, we've got a question from Beef. Beef wants to know if we have any predictions for the post-LUKSO, update 2 of 3. Like any predictions for what might happen after that, What do you think, Keith? Anything special?
We talking price prediction? We talking just predictions in general?
Any and all?
I mean, I predict that the Etherian is going to be tickled pink.
I like that.
Oh, shit.
Did you just snort? Did you just make yourself snort?
Yes, I did. I did. Yep.
That's good.
I believe that I will be tickled pink. Price prediction, I mean, we're over $10 at the time of recording. Fantastic. Back to double digits. I would see, I could see us making a very quick up into the right move. How high? I don't know. Yeah, tough to say. But judging what's happened the last couple times that we've had any type of positive indicators from the team, it's gone up and to the right very quickly.
I cannot. Oh my God! I just had this idea for a skit. I could not stop picturing it, hearing you say that. Like, do you remember? Have you ever seen the movie JFK?
A long time ago. That's an Oliver Stone movie, right?
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's really interesting. And they released some of the JFK papers like that, that showed some really crazy shit about the CIA and stuff, recently. So people have kind of been talking about it again. But the movie, it's a great movie, one of the most well-edited films you'll ever see. But there's a very famous like courtroom scene where he's like back and to the left, back and to the left. Like even on Seinfeld, they did a skit about it. Back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So you keep saying up and to the right.
Spitting.
Yes. So I'm imagining like you in a courtroom, like up and to the right. Like, sorry, I got sidetracked on that.
And to the right.
Oh,
no, it's all good. Yeah, I could see, that positive price action. Now, predicting what's in the announcement, because honestly, at this point, nobody has any fucking idea. If you're looking for this guy's predictions, maybe we'll realize that tier 1 listing.
Ooh. All right.
Huh?
I mean, it would be nice to get some liquidity finally for this project. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, you got to distribute it somehow.
It's true. It's very true.
Right?
What tier 1 would you like to see?
Being a U.S. citizen, I would like to see Coinbase. What tier 1 will we probably see? Well, if our sleuths are correct, probably Binance.
Yeah, which I mean,
right?
Binance is the biggest one out there right now, the most volume, right? And obviously that would just be the start. It's like we're gonna only ever get one tier 1, right? I could definitely see.
This guy's not throwing any shade. No shade. Zero shade.
But yeah, we definitely know that. I mean, Brian Armstrong follows Fabian on Twitter, so that was one of the OG things we saw. Like, oh, that's interesting. So I mean, hopefully we're at least on their radar too. But as far as like in a holder count, we're just over 14,000, right? I think.
Yeah, picking up unique holders.
Yeah, on a daily basis, which is really nice. Because like still to this point,
sweet.
Like the team hasn't really done much advertising yet, right? So I think the real advertising might be
actually
the tokenomics, the staking information, and then at some point, after mainnet, when they start dropping NDAs, and if they have any of these big brands that we thought, they could have, then yeah, that's all the advertising you're gonna need, my friend.
Yeah, maybe it'll circle back to, like Marjorie said a long time ago, aggressive marketing.
Right.
That'd be interesting to see.
Throwback to Paisano DAO spaces, when the Queen Marjorie was there and was trolling actually the two of us in Spanish, dropping some mega alpha that we had to translate. But yeah, she mentioned that if you thought that, which now the current website doesn't have the board of advisors on it. They're trying to keep the speculation side of things down, right, and focus on the tech. But the previous, when it was up, there was some insane connections, with Nike and Chanel and Instagram and all these other ones. And she said, well, if you thought that was impressive, just wait till you see the hidden board of advisors. And what I didn't even know there was a hidden board of advisors, right? And if it's more impressive than that, I mean, what the hell are we talking about here? What
Yeah.
just pure 100% speculation. What would be some insane partnerships that you would just love to see, working with LUKSO?
I'm all in for the speculation. I've got some out there that I will not say because I don't want to be let down. However, it would be really wild. I will permit myself to say, because I have seen Marjorie on a number of occasions attend events with companies like TikTok, right? Snapchat, like to have that kind of, and it makes sense given just the digital fashion angle that's being pushed in Berlin as well. To have that kind of integration come quickly would be incredibly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Not only like from a selfish side of like our project, sure, but also from like a user side. Like I want those platforms to be more decentralized. I can't wait till we actually do all these things that we're doing through a universal profile. Whether it be Twitter and a Spaces or Instagram or TikTok or Facebook for those of you who still use it. It's gonna be so nice. And that it's such a big part of. I mean, think about like network TV and like the news. Like it's probably struggling mightily right now, like competing with all of these small platforms that are disseminating information in a much more, impactful, version. Like you can have somebody like Joe Rogan, right? They have on, some famous person. They talk for 3 hours, right? But then you have 20,000 other channels taking small clips of that and disseminating that, and then talking about that themselves, and it's just like this wave of information. Because it's just like it gets so much more to the meat. Because like if you come onto a podcast for 3 hours, like you're not going to be able to really bullshit that much, right? Like people are going to find out the truth, right? So and then they're going to cut that up and then disseminate that, as opposed to like this choreographed, network news stuff where they're like, here's the news, and it's like this really packaged thing from some conglomerate that does not have our best interests in mind. It's a completely different game now, and it's changing pretty quickly. But as these content creators realize that they still don't own this content, right? As valuable as it is, they still don't own it. But when they realize that they'll be able to own it, through something like a universal profile, well, then that's going to change the game mightily, my friend.
And I'm all here for that. I'll tell you that.
All right. Well, so our last question comes from our very own Neuro Hub of Stapleverse and of LUKSO fam. Neuro wants to know about this big bad blade, this Teflon Sega Rosa blade. This was from Teflon's. This was from his second drop, right? His second drop on LUKSO through DMAT. It's an epic piece. It showed up in one of his music videos. It's badass. That one actually, it doesn't light up. The one on my back, I don't know if you can see it. No, but it lights up. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece.
Actually, if I'm correct, this blade was given to holders. Given to people who got frozen out of the drop because there was such demand and there was a little problem with DMAT. And that's one thing Dematerialized has always been good about. If they ever had some type of glitch in their drop, they always made sure that the people who were frozen out were taken care of. And I believe this sword was in response to that exact situation, just like the artifact, the Poisson bag, right? Back in the day.
Yeah, so Artifact's first drop on LUKSO, was the Renaissance drop, which was about was it 2 years ago now? Am I remembering? Yeah, almost 2 years ago. Damn, time flies when you're having fun. But so that one had a few pieces, which I got the Artifact earrings. It was the Fabricant times Artifact times, DMAT drop. I got the earrings, and the Ethereum rings are really cool. And then I was trying to buy the what's it called? Not the brassiere. But it's like the breastplate thing. I forgot.
The brassiere.
But I was trying to purchase
we'll
that.
We'll call it a manzier.
And the manzier. I was trying to get the Artifact manzier, and then my it timed out on me and my transaction. I think I paid and then got refunded or whatever, but I ended up in that loop to get a poison bag as well. So that was a pretty cool gift. But yeah, you're right. DMAT has always done a really good job at taking care of people whenever they did have an issue. Because let's be honest, like the demand for some of these things was just insane. Where everybody's there clicking, buy, insta buy the first second, right? Of course, it's going to get overloaded.
Yeah, back then, you remember how fast drops would get smoked? It would be like 20 seconds and it'd be gone. Like that goes back to like how fast did the artifact drop go for the pigeons? Right, those things went in no time.
Bro, I was there, and I could not. I was trying to get that pigeon for $1. I had to overpay later on, but then it was still a deal because it netted me 3 clones, per pigeon.
Yeah, agreed. What's interesting about the sword? I don't know if you remember. I think we were having a conversation with Teflon, and I definitely said to him, "I want a sword."
Yeah, I do. I remember
he was
that.
Thinking of the Ethalorian. I doubt he was thinking of me when he did it, but like the fact that came out in a drop, I was mega pumped. And I definitely have multiples of these, and when I can transfer them, we'll probably make a gift.
Ooh.
You can literally lock it in right now. We will make a gift to somebody out there who does not have one. Ethalorian will give one away.
That, my friend, is that's quite an offer. Yeah, I think we might have quite a bevy of just stuff from DMAT, which I definitely have some, and I buy some extras as well, just hoping someday in the future I could give them away. So I think we might have to do some giveaways to some Metaheads fam once we get to that point at the Genesis. Could be fun.
Oh,
just gonna
gorgeous.
say, just saying. And one thing I really wanted to do too is, as we get these future artifact seasons, we're always going to have extras. I mean, what better way to give some away than to, our community, right? Just something to keep in.
Agreed. So, at the end of this snack, do you have any appetizers? Talking about Metahead space?
I mean, we did drop the team teaser. Got a lot of love from that. Thank you, fam. Next up, the next teaser you will see, which I can't say when, we'll kind of start the next little vignette of our story, we shall say. Maybe Thalos makes an appearance. That's about all I'm going to say for now. Other than that little story, my friend, will lead us to a container. Can't say anymore. That's it. I can't say more.
He was trying to say more, but you can't see or feed him kicking him under the table. He was trying to say something.
Yeah.
So, just so you know.
He's got really long legs, fam.
Extremely long legs.
His horse only has 3 legs, but Oh wait, no, your horse's mom had 3 legs. Your horse has 4.
That's right.
Well, Eth.
That's right.
It's been wonderful chatting with you as always, my friend. And thank you, fam, for submitting some questions. We'll be doing that again for sure. And we're going to be opening up to the audience for you guys to come in and chill one of these days too. Ask your questions directly. It'll be fun.
Yeah, these are snacks ahead of the real meal. So much more to come on the set of LNGM.
Yes, and the set is evolving. So this is still the beta. You're still seeing the beta version right now, fam. So keep that in mind. It's going to be a lot of fun times to be had in the set of Late Night GM. Eth, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Fam, enjoy your day. Stay pink.